Hello, it's me again, Teresa from the library. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you again. Let me move things out of the way. And once again, I'm going to start from the library website. And then now I want to go to databases, right? Because we're going to be looking at Gale in Context, Science, and Science Direct. So Gale in Context. I'll click on the letter G. I started here. I clicked on databases, and then I clicked on the letter G. So Gale in context, science. I'm looking for Gale in context, science. So it tells me here, current scientific topic overviews, including selected full text for journal and news magazine articles, images, videos, interactive data maps, and more. Um, so here is what the main page looks like. If you are looking for some topics, here are some topics. There's also a browse topics button here that you can click on there. And these are some of the topics. So maybe you're still working on some topics. That's one of the great features about Gale is that it will give you topics. You can click on it, and then there's an overview and related topics. Okay, so let's go back to the front page of Gale. And I want to, just like in OneSearch, I want to go ahead and start in an advanced search, just because I like to see the keyboard, I mean the boxes here that I can put in my keywords. So as you see, it put it in parentheses for me. And then here's our Boolean operators. And I want to use E. That's it, right? With the asterisk. And then I can do this now or I can do this later. Do I want just full text documents? I do just want peer-reviewed journals. Actually, let's see what we find. I'm gonna keep that open. And then, because, right, we might want, let's do academic journals. Actually, no, sorry, let's do news, right? Because first, hey, what's being talked about in the news with genetic testing and ethics? Maybe I'm still looking for topics, or maybe I'm still looking for background information. And so I'm going to search that way. And so here are the news articles that I could read to get some background information if I wanted. Um, and what's being discussed, right? What's going on in genetic testing and ethical issues? What is being talked about in the news? And so I can read some of these to find out that information. However, if I wanted to go ahead and change that, then let me go ahead and type it in again, genetic testing, and then ethics. And this time I'm just going to do, I'm not going to limit anything. I'm just going to do a search. And so Gail will suggest some topics over here for you, and it'll break it down. Here are academic journals. These are reference, background information. Here's a biography. Here's a couple of videos, and here's some audio files. And then here's our news, right? The news that we had filtered out before, here it is again. And so here are also, in addition, magazines. So what are people talking about as far as genetic testing? Maybe that's going to help me narrow down my topic. But say I already know I'm narrowing down my topic. I want to look at what academic journals are talking about as far as genetic testing and ethics. So I don't necessarily want to do full text documents because I know even if I don't have the access to the article here, I'm going to use my interlibrary loan service in the library. So I'm not going to click on that one. I am going to click on peer-reviewed journals because I just want to look at academic journals. And then I can do publication date. I can pick a range, the past. I'm going to choose the past year, or you can put in some dates there. Now there's only 6. There's document type, a report, or an article. Just going to choose an article and then click apply. So I might, now there's only 2, and it looks like these are only citations. And then this one's a systematic review. So let me click on this one. This is only a citation. And so, do we have access to this at the library? I'm not sure. I'm going to go look in OneSearch to see if we do. Secondary findings, da 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 da. And just, oh yeah, looks like same author. So now let me see if we have access to it. And it looks like we do, but it's through Springer Link Journals and not through Gale. So just because we don't have access there, double check in OneSearch. And here is download the PDF. And then from this systematic review, maybe I can find articles because we know a review is going to be reviewing articles, right? And so then in here, I'll be looking at, okay, what articles did they review and which ones do I want to see if the library has that is related to my topic. So let's go back to, sorry, I still have all my tabs open here. So Gale in Context Science. So let's turn back to results. And because I've only got 2 there, let me go ahead and change the date. But I'm trying to figure out, let's see, filter by subject, by document type, title. Okay, let's see. I want to go back. I may have to start over because I want to change the dates on here. Oh, here. Gonna click that off, right? And now my publication date came back. And then I'm gonna put in a range. I actually want to do August. Right, I want more than a year because that didn't seem to give me too many results. So I want to go back to, let's say, August 2021 to today. And then click apply. And now I have 11. And then there's my new date in there. And so now I have 11 articles that I want to search for. And make note of which are citation only, because then you want to check and see if we have those. And you can search in OneSearch for those. If we do have them, then we are going to see if we have them by clicking on here. Here's the abstract. Here's the introduction. And then also looking for if there's here's some of the tools you have. You can email it to yourself. You can download it. You can print it out. I was actually trying to see if we had a PDF version, but it doesn't seem to be so. But then you have to go through here, right? And then see, is this an article that is relevant? Does it meet your source requirement and is it relevant for your topic? And then over here are some related subjects that you might want to click on to take you back. So those are our results for Gale. So now let's close out of Gale. And then the other one we wanted to look at was Science Direct. So I'm going to close out of all this stuff and then go back to the library website. Right, this is our first page. Here's the person shelving the books. And here I'm going to click on databases, but now I'm going to go to Science Direct. So Science Direct is going to be, I'm going to click on the S, the letter S, and then I'm going to go down to Science Direct. And then there is no advanced search feature. So I'm going to use what I know. I think I have to sneeze, guys. Excuse me. I'm going to put in what I know about using connectors and that's it. Let's see what happens. I'm going to click on search. Oh, wildcards are not supported. Ah, so we can't use the wildcard in Science Direct. And then we're going to click on search. Well, apparently we can use the search rating, right? The quotation marks. And so what do we find here? We have a lot of results. So we definitely want to narrow this down. So I can put in, and I think I used female before. So let's search. And it did narrow it down a little bit, but let's see what filters we have on this side that we can use to filter it down even more. The great thing about Science Direct is the filters, of course, which are on the same side as the one search, which makes it a little bit easier. I can refine by the years. I can refine by the article type. Oh, I just want to look at review articles. Remember, review articles are secondary sources, but then there's also a tab for research articles. And then there's a tab for encyclopedia entries. Oh, this is great. So then if I wanted to look at publication titles or subject areas and languages, I could click on one of those. So I limited it to English because unfortunately I just speak one language. What else? Let me see what else you might want to know. So this is a research article, and it shows, nice, that we have full text access. You can view the PDF. You can read the abstract to see, is this relevant to my topic? Is this what I'm looking for? View PDF. Let's see what other tools we have here. Once again, view the PDF, you can look at the abstract. And then once you can, go ahead and look at one PDF. It should pop up. And then your job is to go through, read the abstract. Okay, is this something that pertains to my research topic? Now, I do notice that this one has an introduction. It has a method section. It says study design participants and study site. So this is an original study. It's got a method section. It's got a results section. It should have somewhere a conclusion or discussion to share right here, conclusions, their findings. And so this is a research article. And so now you have to determine, okay, do I want, is this relevant to my topic? Is this something that I can use? I'm going to close that out. And then you can download selected articles. And then you can download them to your computer. You could also create an account in Science Direct it is a free, it's free. You just create an account, but you will have to create a username, a password, but then you can save your items into that account. Or you can download everything and put it into EndNote. If I'm not mistaken, I'm looking for an export to you would, if you're using EndNote, you would export citation to RIS, and that's how you could save it. I mean, if you're wanting to save it to EndNote, that's how you would do it. Or you can just click on, and then download the selected articles onto your computer. But what if we don't own it, right? This one says, I don't think we own this first one. I think it's just find it at UHCL, which means that, um, so something to note is that it says section snippets. So section snippets means that it's only giving you a tiny little snippet and it's not the full article. So you definitely want to do interlibrary loan for this one. We can click on find it at UHCL because it's right there staring at us, right? Like the elephant in the room. Let's see what happens when we click on find it at UHCL. I feel like let's see, I'm going to write this down. This is volume 49, issue 3, and then September 2024. The reason that I'm writing it down is because I feel like we're about to go on some kind of loop journey. Okay, yes, so here we go. Let's see if UHCL has this. Remember, it was September 2024, volume 49, issue 3. So I'm going to click on there. Ooh, let's see if we have this one. What is it? Which one was it? Perspectives in implantation perspectives. Show more results. No, we do not have access to it. It looks like we have access to some of these articles, but not this one. Which is interesting because that is September 2024, volume 49, right? It was issue 3. Issue 3. Issue 3. And then, oh, here we go. Yeah, I clicked on the wrong issue. Perspectives of pre-implementation. Here it is. Okay. So before we get too excited, let's look at our access options. Okay. So this is what sometimes will happen. And so if you find yourself going through a loop and a loop and a loop, that brings you back to that list of dates, please just assume we don't own it and request an interlibrary loan. So if I click on this, it's going to take me back through a loop. So I'm going to request through interlibrary loan this article. And the thing about that button is it will ask me to sign in, but then it will pre-fill everything for me, and then I can just click submit. And so all of our articles don't always pop up the same, and it does take a little bit of not tweaking, but looking for the PDF, looking for the information. And so with research, one, right, you're having to, okay, let me find the right keywords, let me tweak my search strategy, but then you also have the challenge of, do I own, does the library own the article? where's the best bet for me to start? Should I start in one search? Should I start in the databases? So you're going to have to figure out those questions for yourself, or maybe look in, a little bit in one search. Science Direct seems like a great place to start too. And so that is, I find it fun, of course, but I realize that not all students find looking for information fun. So definitely please use the chat feature if you want some help, or if you are unsure about something, you can definitely use the chat feature. Come in, ask for help. That's our job. A lot of students don't realize that there is a team of librarians here that so there's a couple of full-time librarians and a couple of part-time librarians, and our job here is to help you use the library resources. So if you're not finding something because maybe you think your keywords are off or you're not having any luck, please, please, please reach out to us. If you are finding something, like say you use Google Scholar, which I understand, totally understand that students use that, but then definitely come back to OneSearch and see if we own the item. And if we don't, then definitely use your interlibrary loan service. And then if you have any questions about anything, um, please reach out to us. You have my email address on the first video, and then in the handout, I need to go ahead and put that EndNote link in that for you before I send that to your professor. But I hope that this has been helpful as a beginning for you. And then definitely reach out. Please reach out if you need any help. Do not think you are bothering us. It is our job. This is what we're doing here. Librarians like to help students, so you are not bothering us. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.